We submitted our application for express entry on 30th June 2017 and we received the stamped passport on 31st August.
And today we will be sharing all the steps that are there for Canada PR Express entry. But I don't want to do that in the modern way, which is whiteboard animation. I have some idea about doing this in a classic old school way. So we have our blackboard ready, our teacher ready, and we have the chalk ready. She will be showing you all these steps to get the PR. You may start now.
Thank you.
So ma'am has written all these steps on the board, but before going into details of all these steps, I just want to quickly tell you what express entry is. That is a system created by Canada government to only invite skilled applicants on the basis of the language, their qualification and experience. Otherwise, everybody would like to come to a great country, but they only want to invite qualified and skilled people.
Now let's talk about the steps to get Canada PR. The very first step is giving IELTS exam. That's the language ability test. Then comes ECA. ECA stands for Educational Credential Assessment. Then is creating your profile in the express entry pool for ITA. ITA stands for Invitation to Apply. Then after creating the profile, the next step is to arrange for all the documents required for the process. Then comes the stage when you get the invitation from the Canadian government to submit your file. After that, you have to give your medical test and submit all the documents required by the government. And then finally, you get the visa stamped on your passport and you land in Canada.
That's so simple, isn't it?
Very simple.
Very simple. So if you have searched on the internet or you have checked out other YouTube videos, you might see the IELTS steps as a second step, but we are sharing our personal experience is that you should go for IELTS test first so that you know your IELTS scores, because your CRS total score will be depending on your age, your qualification, your experience and your IELTS scores. So you know that you can't change your age, you can't change your experience, you can't change your qualification, but you can change your IELTS score. And if your IELTS score will not be good, there is no point paying fees to the agent or going for the ECA. You know that you will at least need 440 because last cutoff in December was somewhere around 438. So even if your CRS score is below 440, it is very unlikely that you will get the golden mail, which is PPR. So let me show you on my laptop how you can calculate your CRS scores. That should be the first step before even giving the IELTS. After giving IELTS, you should do the calculation of CRS and see if you need to give IELTS again or not. So IELTS would be the most important step. Let's check the CRS calculator on the laptop.
Okay, so this is the CRS tool by which you can get your CRS score. This is the URL, but I will be giving that in the description so we don't waste much time. And also I have filled all the details beforehand so that we can make the video shorter. First thing you need to select is whether you are single or married, and if your spouse is citizen of Canada, you need to select yes. You will get more points for it. Will your spouse and common law partner come with you to Canada? I would say yes, because in near future, if your wife or husband would be accompanying, you need to select it yes. And also you will be filling the educational and IELTS details for your spouse and you will get more points. Let's move on. You need to fill your age and you get points for your age as well. The lesser your age will be, the more points you will get. And here we had master degree, so I have selected master degree. You will get more points for master degree and obviously you will get the maximum point for PhD. So in my case, I'm selecting masters. I don't have any Canadian diploma certificate, so I'm saying no. Yes, we have gone through the English test and that was IELTS. TEF is the French test. So in our case, it was IELTS. I'm selecting IELTS here, selecting the scores. This is very important because you will realize how much score you're getting in total on the basis of your IELTS score. So in this case, I've selected 7 in speaking, 8 in listening, reading 7, 7.5, writing 7, which will make it 8,777. And at the end, when you calculate your score, you will come to know how the IELTS scores impact your total CRS score. No, we don't have any other language test. If you have capabilities in French as well, you can give TEF Canada test as well, and you will get more points for French test. Do you have any certificate qualification from Canadian province? In my case, it was no. In your case, you can select yes if you have. In case you have got an offer under Labor Market Impact Assessment, which is LMIA, you can select yes. In my case, it was no. Do you have nomination certificate in province from a province or territory, which is PNP? But in my case, it was no. If your brother or sister is there in Canada, you get more points, but in my case it was no. Now see the benefit of adding your spouse as a secondary applicant. In the CRS calculator, you will be populating data for your spouse as well, experience, education, and as well as IELTS. So if your spouse is also giving IELTS test, the total CRS score will be impacted and you will get benefit of it as well. That's why it is important to go through the IELTS test if you are a married couple. Now let's see, the final step is to calculate the score, and it will show you the detailed information about the points that you're getting for your age, for your education, for your IELTS test. If you have filled the details for your spouse, you will get the scores for your spouse, qualifications as well, and other details on the basis of your education, on the basis of your experience. And at the end, you will see the total score, which is 477, which is very good because on an average, the CRS score cutoff is around 440 to 450. So first thing I would say to go through the CRS calculator so that you can analyze and judge how much score you need in IELTS. And this is free of cost. You can go to this website. I'll provide the link in the description. So go through that. First of all, this should be your first step so that you know how much scores you are making on the basis of your age, your IELTS score. If you have not given, you will have some idea how much IELTS score you need to make your score at least 440 or 450. Again, I can't emphasize enough on the importance of the IELTS score. If you can see here, clearly you can't change your age. Obviously, you can't change your spouse or the scores your spouse got, and your education and work experience very quickly, right? It takes time. But the thing you can change very quickly is the score that you get on the basis of your IELTS score. If you will get IELTS band 6, this will be reduced. If you get IELTS band 7 or 7.5 or 8, obviously this will increase, and in turn your total score will be higher than others. It increases the chance of you getting in the cutoff list. So IELTS is very important. Do not take it lightly. Let's get back to the video now.
So let's talk about the first point, that's IELTS. IELTS test is conducted to check your proficiency in reading, writing, speaking and listening modules. So for express entry, you have to give IELTS general exam, and there are two institutions, British Council and IDP, who conduct this exam. For us, we gave it through British Council and found it very proficient. So it's completely up to you, whichever institute you want to apply for. One important tip that we can give you here is that if you and your spouse both are planning to come to Canada, so it would be great if both of you apply for IELTS exam, because it adds up to the total of CRS score and it will improve the total score. And the last point is around the cost. The cost for IELTS exam is approximately $220. But again, you should check the website and see what is it coming up to in the local currency.
Yeah, and you don't want to waste the IELTS fees again and again after giving exams again and again. So you should be well prepared before giving the IELTS exam. And as you know that this is the first step, your CRS score will be depending on your IELTS score. If your CRS score is not good, you won't be able to get the Canada PR in the express entry. So I can't emphasize enough that IELTS score is very, very important. And as I have told you that your total CRS score will get increased only by increasing your IELTS scores. So I'm going to share the trick that we have used to increase our IELTS scores. We have already shared that in the IELTS video, but I'm again sharing that. If you haven't watched the IELTS video, please go watch that as well. Now let me show you what is the trick that I have used to increase our IELTS score. So we both achieved 8 band in IELTS scores, and to do practice for IELTS, we both have used Cambly app, which I'm going to show you right now. So let me give you a quick demo of the app so that you can use it easily. You can go to tutors, you can see all the available tutors here. Let's talk to Cody.
Hello.
Hi Cody, how are you?
I'm good. What brings you to Cambly?
Actually, I'm preparing for my IELTS test. I just want to practice and I just want to know how you would be able to help me with that. Basically, for speaking and listening, I would like to practice with online tutors. Also, I want to build some confidence because I would be going through some interviews when I will move to Canada or when I will be going through some telephonic rounds. So I want to increase and build my confidence there as well.
For many of my students who do the IELTS speaking practice,
Mm-hmm.
I typically ask them a question, and I'll give them a minute. I'll time you.
Okay.
So you'll get a minute to prep, and then you have to speak for 2 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
just to kind of get a feel for what it's gonna be like.
Right.
So we're gonna do some practice, okay?
Sure.
Let me get my timer and my book.
So as you have seen in the demo, you would be able to practice for speaking, listening, and it will also build your confidence for the upcoming interviews that you will be giving on telephone from your home country or when you are here in Canada. It will benefit you for interviews and for IELTS exam as well. So make sure that you're availing the 30% discount that is applicable for few weeks only. So make sure that you're taking advantage of that discount. Now, once you know that you have achieved the desired IELTS score to get the required CRS score, you can move to second step, which is getting your ECA done.
So as we told, ECA stands for Educational Credential Assessment. In this one, there's a independent body, WES, who evaluates your educational degrees. So in this one, you have to send your 10th, 12th, your bachelor's, your master's and your PhD degree and certificates to them.
So we had some added advantage because we both had master degrees and that in turn increased our CRS score. So if you have a master degree, that will be added advantage for you.
So you have to get the transcripts from your colleges for your master's and your bachelor's or PhD, and you have to send a copy of your all the mark sheets and the degrees along with the original transcripts.
And please make sure that you are not providing any false information because ECA is also a very important step. Although in whole express entry step you should not be providing any false information, but ECA is the step where you will be getting the points for your education. So only provide original documents.
And the cost to get the documents evaluated is approximately around $300.
And this is including the international courier that will be going from your home country to Canada.
Now we have got the IELTS scores, we have done the educational assessment. Now is the right time to create your profile. So one important point to note here is that you would not be able to create your profile online if you don't have the IELTS scores with you or the EC acceptance. Creating a profile online is free of cost, there are no charges for it, which is good.
And you also have to provide the NOC code which represent what kind of job you are looking for in Canada, and make sure that job responsibility in the reference letter which you will be providing in the next step matches the NOC code. We'll be providing a link in the description. You can check that and find out your NOC code on the basis of your job and responsibility.
So once everything is done, it's time for you to wait and have a lot of sleepless nights because you have to wait for the cutoff and you have to see like when you get the invitation. So the good thing over here is that they have the draw every 2 weeks. So good luck.
Yeah, approximately 2 weeks. So let's say your CRS score is 445. If the cutoff list will be 440, you will be receiving the ITA. If not, you will have to wait for other draw. So that is why the cutoff list is moving around 440, 450. So make sure that your total CRS score is more than 440 or 445. Although you need to start arranging your documents once you receive ITA, but we were very proactive. We started arranging our documents as soon as we entered our application in the pool. So we will also suggest that to you as well, because till last year the deadline was 90 days after getting the ITA, but they have reduced it to 60 days. And it is a very time consuming task. So make sure that you are being proactive and start arranging it before even you receive ITA, because there are chances that you will have to deal with some government bodies to get your 10th mark sheet if in case it is lost like me, and mark sheet, graduation, post-graduation degrees and transcripts. So just be proactive.
So adding to that, it's like funny, we were married already, but we didn't have a marriage certificate. So that's again a very important document, and it took us long time to get it. So we can only suggest that be very proactive and start arranging all the missing documents, because it's all available everywhere. So
yeah, and do not leave anything for last minute. Make sure when you receive the ITA, within 10 or 20 days you are submitting all your documents. So I would say this is the biggest milestone, receiving the ITA, which means your score is more than the cutoff. For example, if the CRS cutoff was 440 and your score is 445, that means you will receive the ITA. There is nothing much, but you will receive an email from IRCC, so you can be happy and start arranging the documents. I would say this is the most difficult stage, because you have done all the hard work. Now you will have to just wait for a score to be in the cutoff. Now that you have received the ITA, you need to submit medical certificate and all the documents within 60 days. So as you must have already arranged it before receiving the ITA by being proactive, so you will not take much time, and these are the documents that you need to submit.
So the big struggle is arranging all the documents from all your jobs. So you have to get all the appointment letters, your experience letters and the reference letter. The one document that takes a lot of time is reference letter. You have to ensure that whatever NOC code you have mentioned while submitting your profile on step 3, and the reference letter that you are getting from the HR of your current company or previous companies, it should have the same job description. It should all match and line up. So if it is not, it may not be considered.
And we receive a lot of questions about proof of funds. So for one person it is approximately 12,000 Canadian dollar, and for two people it is around 15,000 Canadian dollar, and you will have to provide your 6 months bank statement. So make sure that you don't have immediate fund getting credited in your account, but you have that genuine funds from past 6 months or 1 year in your bank statement. And your passport validity should be of 6 months as on when you are traveling, and your travel date is based on your medical certificate. So if you are getting your medical done on, let's say, on 1st June of 2018, your expiry of one-time visa will be 1st June of 2019.
Then comes the PCC. It stands for Police Clearance Certificate. You have to provide this certificate for all the places you lived in for last 10 years. So for example, you lived in US for at least for 6 months. So you have to get a clearance certificate from US police as well. So that's really important. Then there are other documents like marriage certificate. If you have a dependent child, so you need to have his or her birth certificate, medical report based on the medical test that you will appear for.
And another tip regarding the medical test, so make sure that you're arranging all your documents, and you get 60 days to arrange all your documents. Make sure that after arranging all the documents, then you are appearing for the medical test, because as I told you that you will get 1 year after your medical test is done. So the later you are doing the medical test, the more months you will have to decide when you want to travel to Canada, because in the beginning you will get only one time travel visa, and then when you land in Canada you will get the PR. So that's another trick that we have used. We made sure that we are giving the medical test in the end of arranging all the documents, and then we had more time to decide when we want to move to Canada.
And for the photos, there's a specific dimension provided by the Canadian government that you have to follow, including the background. So do pay attention to that. The fees is around $1,040 per person.
And this is the PR fees, which is $1,040 per person. So if you are traveling with your spouse, multiply this with 2. So finally, congratulations, you are coming to Canada. This was the last step. So simple, isn't it?
So congratulations, you have received the golden email. That's the COPR letter. Now you should be sure that you are coming to Canada.
And meeting us.
Yes. So you get 30 days from the day you receive this email to get your passport stamped for Canadian visa, I'm sure, like in our case, we were so excited that we went to the VFS center the very next day, isn't it?
Yeah. And as I mentioned that this will not be your permanent residency card, but this will be only one-time travel visa. So you need to travel to Canada and get your PR, but this is also very important because you will be traveling to Canada for the first time.
So when you go to the VFS center, you have to submit your passport, your photographs and the COPR letter that you received in this email. And they take approximately 15 days to stamp it and send it back to your home.
And I also want to emphasize on a point that this COPR document will hold a lot of importance until and unless you are not getting your PR card. So on the airport, to get your health card, to get your driving license, that COPR will be a very important document.
And yes, we have heard and read a lot of cases wherein people end up signing this document or they get it laminated. So if you do that, it will be invalid. So please don't do that. Just keep it as it is you received it.
Keep it safe. Because this was a long video and there are a lot many steps. Quickly we can summarize all the steps for you. First, you will give the IELTS. Before going to any agent or before submitting your application, you need to appear in IELTS and
Know the ground reality.
and achieve a good score. Make sure that you are using Cambly app because that helped us a lot. In the IELTS video as well, a lot of people use Cambly app and they have achieved good IELTS score. And moreover, you're getting a 30% discount as well. Next step would be getting your education evaluated from WS or any other government body. Third step would be to create your profile along with your IELTS and ECA acceptance. As soon as you submit your IELTS and ECA document, you need to start arranging for your documents and then you will receive the ITA and then get your medical done, submit your documents and at last you will receive the COPR and fly to Canada.
Now start packing your bags, start making a list of things that you want to take along and start meeting all your friends and family because this is the only time that you will be able to spend with them and start making good memories.
Start eating a lot of food.
We did that.
Yeah, go to every place that is your favorite because the similar kind of food you will not get it here. So that's one thing. See, we are talking about food and we digress from the topic. So please do that. Also, you can watch our another video. What are the things that you need to pack when you move to Canada? And you will also find number of videos in our YouTube channel that will help you to make your journey to Canada very smooth. For any query, you can join us on Instagram, you can join our Facebook group and ask any query that you have related to Canada PR and IELTS and whatnot.
And we would really love to know your experiences, how our videos helped you in maybe your journey to Canada or maybe planning about it. Please do mention that in comments. We would really love to hear that.
So till next time,
Stick
around.